Video games became very important for the entertainment industry, with millions of players across the world, generating billions of dollars. It all started in 1961, when Stephen Russell, an MIT student, created the first game, called Space Wars. However, this game could not be sold, due to the high price of computers at the time. After 9 years, Nolan Bushnell, founder of Atari, created Computer Space. His version of Space Wars built it into a cage with a TV. Computer Space was the first coin-operated machine. Inspired by the success of this concept, a company called Magnavox released in 1972 Odyssey, the first home video game console.
Magnavox presents Odyssey, the electronic game of the future.
This system was monochromatic, had no sound, and it was completely analog.
Electronic playground. Odyssey gives you all the exciting action of hockey and 11 other
The main game was built inside the console. Magnavox released 6 cards with different command codes, that together with accessories like screen stickers and flash cards, allowed the players to have different gaming experiences. This pioneered game system was not a lasting success. Odyssey was extremely clunky and not very challenging. Also important was the release of Atari Pong in 1975. This console was a home version of the famous Pong arcade machine. Until 1976, many Pong clone consoles could be found on the market. However, none of them could compete with the next generation console. Released by Fairchild, Channel F was the first programmable system using an 8-bit microprocessor and 16-color graphics. This system introduced cartridges that contained ROM and a microprocessor rather than dedicated circuits. It was capable of playing a variety of games, such as hockey and tennis, or educational games such as Math Quiz, programmed by removable cartridges. 1 year later, Atari released the VCS 2600, which became the most important video game of this generation, due to the better graphics, games, and for the first time, sound. It was the first hit console, selling around 30 million units and more than 120 million cartridges of popular games such as Space Invaders, Asteroids, and Pac-Man.
I'd like an Atari 2600 system, please, and everything that goes with everything. You sure you want everything? I want everything. Now you get a new low price, up to $30 a rebate office, and a free pack. Is that everything? Not everything. You can get.
In 1983, the industry in North America suffered a huge crash. The third generation of video games became known as the Dark Ages, due not to any new technology but rather to the big drop in sales that started in 1983.
So in 83, 84 there were so many consoles and games on the market that the whole market collapsed. There was a really nice story about the Atari 2600 game E.T. It was released after the movie, and there were so many copies made of it, and it was sold so poorly that they filled the whole road in the Nevada desert underneath the highway to fill up the road. Well, about 1.5 million cassettes.
Nintendo. 2 years after the crash, released in North America the Nintendo Entertainment System. This was the most popular console of third generation, with almost 62 million consoles sold worldwide. One of the main reasons for the success of this console was Super Mario Bros., that became the image of Nintendo and one of the most important games ever. Nintendo, with a huge number of sales, played an important role in the American game industry. This console set the standards for future game design and controller layout. In 1986, Sega came up with Master System. This system had better graphics than the Nintendo, but it didn't succeed, selling only 13 million worldwide. In this generation, the number of bits started to be important for gamers. So, in 1988, Sega released Genesis, the first 16-bit console that regained the market share for Sega. This console was the most successful Sega console. Sonic the Hedgehog was an extreme success at the time due to the quality of color graphics, sound, and gameplay. To compete with the Sega Genesis, Nintendo launched its own 16-bit system, the Super Nintendo, in 1991. The next generation of home video games featured high-powered microprocessors and dedicated graphics that enabled extremely realistic graphics and gameplay at the time. Sega released Sega Saturn in 1995. This console was the first high graphics quality system, using a twin 32-bit microprocessor and CD-ROM-based games. In the same year, Sony released its first console. Sony, with PlayStation, entered strong into the gaming market, backing up their consoles with massive advertising campaigns. That made PlayStation the leader of home video game systems, despite of both Sega and Nintendo.
I still have the commercials. I still have them in my head. There's a little guy in a skate ramp who says,
"Conquered worlds."
It was brilliant advertising, and I don't remember a Sega Saturn advertising. It says enough.
Next one was Sega Dreamcast, that incorporated a 128-bit microprocessor, 26 megabytes of memory, and was the pioneer in online features. In 1998, the game industry really pushed the envelope in terms of graphics, performance, and gameplay. This console had strong sales until Sony introduced PlayStation 2 in 2000. A new concept of console was born by turning the gaming into a media center capable of playing music, CDs, and DVDs. In 2001, Microsoft decided to enter the console market and released the Xbox. This console incorporated a 733 MHz Pentium 3 microprocessor, a 10 GHz hard drive, and built-in Ethernet support. The present generation of consoles began in 2005 with the release of Xbox 360, followed by PS3 and Nintendo Wii. Xbox 360 and PS3 started to use high-definition graphics, each one choosing different formats. While Xbox used DVDs, PS3 went for Blu-ray, a format developed by Sony itself. Both systems introduced wireless controllers, hard drives, and online features that offered gamers new possibilities, such as multiplayer gaming, downloads, and game updates. Despite some small differences in graphics, the systems are very similar, so the exclusive games and the Blu-ray movie catalog is what differentiates them. Nintendo, however, decided to take a different path with its new console, Wii. Instead of competing for the best graphics already seen in Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3, Nintendo decided to introduce a system based on motion sensors. This system offered a totally new game experience, and despite the poor graphics, it attracted a new different type of players, becoming the best-seller console of this generation. The future of consoles is still unknown. However, a new concept was recently released.
Hi, I'm Jennifer. Welcome to On Live.
The only requirements are an internet connection, faster than 5 megabytes per second, and a computer capable of playing video. It allows players to play games anywhere, only with their micro console or with any computer. Gamers can also spectate other players and share their experiences.